Call the meeting to order. You want to take the roll?
Yes, Joe Chappell,
Present.
Aaron Brown,
Here.
Valerie Duncan,
Here.
Adam Ropp,
Here.
Patrick Kerr, absent, Lynn Bilodeau,
Here.
and James Long.
Here.
Everybody, all right, we have a quorum.
Thank you. And do we have anybody signed up for public comments? Okay. Would you step to the mic? And I already know you're Carol Herzl, but you need to step to the mic and announce who you are and tell us where you live and what you'd like to address.
Hi. Oops, is it on?
Think so.
I believe it is.
Yes.
Carol Herzl, 3119 Cedar Ridge Court. I just had some questions. You know, Lud Lentz knew everything, and then Jim Hankey knew a lot of things, and so I'm just trying to catch up. So I have questions about whether you all want to address some things, because I don't know. It's up to you. But Charlie Smith, what did I do with that? Picked some colors out for the Chartreuse building that I thought was gorgeous. I guess I'll find it. Oh, there they are. Because I guess he's going to come back and ask for more things. And if he asks for Chartreuse, that's not a Victorian color. And I know what happened about, I guess why it got approved is because Kim Mahoney gave me her book. She was on for 4 years, and they used to use Sherwin-Williams colors, and there's no offensive greens on that. And then she told me that they switched to Ace, which I'm sure just to be more convenient, but then it had all those crazy colors that weren't Victorian. That
It has
probably
it has a Granny Smith on it.
Yeah, which nobody really realized. Historic doesn't mean Victorian.
Right.
Right. So I hope, and I talked to Dan about some of these things, that he said he could pull up Sherwin-Williams and Victorian and get the right color. Is that? So, I mean, I hope you'll address that and
Yeah.
And did I hear you right earlier before the meeting started that they're planning on a new application for some other work on that building?
Yes, because they did more work than what was previously approved.
Okay. So maybe we can address that at that time.
Okay. And let's see, where's my notes? There's so many, I guess Max Fairchild is doing the bright blue, the bright white, and the silver, which aren't Victorian colors.
Oh, on the agenda tonight?
Well, he's painted it without approval, as I understand.
Painted.
You know what I'm talking about, the parking lot where he bought from, or has a lease with the Powell family?
Oh, the one across the street, yes.
Yeah, it's bright blue and bright white, and then the little posts are silver, none of which are Victorian. And I just wondered, you know, of course, my friends are like Charlie Smith and Joe Coffin, all these people have been on forever. Couldn't the city, when you lease a building, when you say, I need to put the service in my name, couldn't the city give them a handout of what they need to know about?
If I may say so, I've said this multiple times,
Okay.
and I've gotten, from what I've heard back, I've heard, you want to make the ladies at the desk be responsible for this? And I said, no, not responsible, just that when you sign up, you just take your hand and you go,
This is what you need to know.
and you hand the paper and make them sign that they received
And if
it.
I can, just as a point of order, you know, it's public comment, so obviously
Sure.
Carol has, you know, can speak, but as far as the correspondence back and forth and that, we have to limit that because it is public comments and only public comments and not an agenda item.
Oh,
However, at the end of the night, if the commission would like to direct certain things for the staff to look at or whatever, then there's that ability. But right now, we pretty much let public comments be
That's all I
public
was saying.
comments.
It's your decision, but things that other people notice that I wonder if you notice. What I said was that when you lease a building, you go to City Hall and get your utility. You have to put your deposit down. Couldn't the city utility department hand them a printout and say, there are rules that you need to know? You go online or here they are. Because it seems like you all have to spend so much time undoing things that they go, well, I didn't know it. So that's just you all want to address that. And the other thing, interesting thing was, I know Joe noticed this, they repaved the street in front of Smith Gallo Funeral Home, And, oh my gosh, the bricks were gorgeous. I took several pictures. There was not one brick missing in the street. And so Jeff happened to run into Ben Gallo and said, what would you prefer, brick or asphalt? And he goes, oh my gosh, brick. So another thing I wondered if you all wanted to discuss, it seems like it'd be a lot cheaper, take off the asphalt. It was like, it took a day, they took the asphalt off and there was the brick. And I don't know, I guess there's other steps that you have to do that might be cheaper. So if you all want to address, because that's your area, the streets in the historic district.
Sure.
Okay, I think that's all.
Okay. Thank you, Carol.
Oh, did I say chain link fence at Dean's Cleaners?
I got that one.
Okay.
Okay, you've got something on that?
Yeah, we had talked
Okay.
previously, so.
And I'm
Okay.
not trying to complain, I'm just kind of wondering about some things, so,
Okay,
pardon me. Thanks.
thank you, Carol. Next, move to approval of the minutes. Has everybody had a chance to review the minutes from the last meeting?
Yes, I make that.
Do I have a motion?
I move to accept.
Have a motion, do I have a second? Patrick moves, or seconds?
I'll second that.
Patrick already did.
Oh, did he?
Okay.
Jeff, I guess.
Joe Chappell,
Yes.
Aaron Brown.
I abstain, I was absent.
Oh, that's right, I'm sorry. I should have marked that down. Valerie Duncan,
Yes.
Adam Ropp,
Yes.
Patrick Kerr,
Yes.
and Lynn Bilodeau.
Yes.
Perfect.
Next item on the agenda is HPC application 20011, discussion potential action on a request for certificate of appropriateness for new paint on buildings located at 118 and 124 East Oklahoma. Do we have a staff report?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair. As you indicated, the two buildings at 118, 124 East Oklahoma. 124 currently has the Prairie Wolf Spirits Distillery, and they have purchased the building next door, which is just to the west there, and they're starting to do some renovations on that. But they're looking to paint both buildings. As everybody probably knows, the current building that's at 124 is kind of a cinder block white building. The one to the west is more of what they're wanting to paint, which is a burgundy color. Let me take this off so I can speak a little bit better. And so they're looking, and you saw and it was in your packet, a rendering. They're looking to paint both buildings a London burgundy, which is a Benjamin Moore paint in that. And again, it's very similar to the existing color at the 118. The canopy on both buildings is going to be black in that, but they are not going to paint the basically rusticated stone area that's on that upper level of the building at 118. They're going to have that remain, but the rest of it, again, on the front. And currently, there's kind of a grayish, I guess you would call it, color on the front, especially on the first level on 124 in that. So anyway, all the buildings, or both buildings together, will be all the same color in that, and probably fit much better within the historic district. So based on what the application was, staff recommended approval of the certificate of appropriateness for the colors.
And Dan, we don't have a picture of what the building to the left looks like right now?
No, I honestly, probably forgot to include that, but like I said, on the lower level, there's kind of a grayish color that's on the front by the windows.
And that's the one that was painted without getting approval, and we kind of had...
Yes, yes.
Years ago.
Years ago, right.
several
Yeah, I was
years
going to say,
ago,
not,
and-
yeah.
And there was
Yeah.
a little bit of an uproar over that. And
Yes.
it never apparently resolved. So this would
No.
resolve that.
Exactly.
I
That'll
thought-
take care of it.
Incorrect paint.
You know, I didn't drive by and look at this building today, because I just drove into town. But it seemed like to me on the corner there was some stonework.
Yeah, that's what he said. They're not gonna paint the
Yeah.
rusticated corner.
Right,
Oh, okay.
yeah. It's
Yeah,
just the
leave-
actual
leave that
brick part,
natural.
yeah.
Okay.
What about the windows?
I was going to say, the
Oh,
applicant is here.
and I was getting ready to say,
Yeah.
is the applicant present?
Yes, yes.
Okay, why don't you step to the mic, identify yourself, and go ahead and tell us what you think you need to tell us.
Jonathan Stranger from Prairie Wolf Spirits. Yeah, the windows, the plan is to, like, our whole goal with everything we're trying to do is make it fit with Guthrie in the time period way better. Way better than it currently does, obviously, especially with 124. So that's not there anymore. The plan is, with the windows, the upstairs windows, is to literally just restore them for what they are. Leave the same casings, leave everything. We found a guy that, the only thing that would be different is the glass. It's not broken just from time. So putting in a newer thermopane glass, but it's still clear glass. And then literally we're having a guy who focuses on window frames, that guy exists apparently, come in, sand it all down, paint it, put it back to what it was, which was white. So it looks like it should have looked and would look back then. And then everything that we're trying to do and move forward on is to continue making it look more a part of Guthrie as we do it. So like right now, where this is kind of phase one, we do want to do more. I just don't know all what that is yet. So until we get bids and see
But
what everything
the
looks like.
windows will be white.
Yes, yeah, that appears to be what the original color was on the casings, because the interior still has a lot of it. So we were just gonna kind of bring it back. And then the stuff that's stone, up above the windows has some really cool intricate stonework and sculpture above it. And we didn't want to paint it because it would be gone and you wouldn't notice it. So we want to keep it there.
You still have a
Nice, yeah.
picture?
Yeah, it's on Google, hold on, I have to find it, it's on Google Maps.
Is that it now?
Yeah, that's,
Yeah,
See it
Yeah,
there,
okay,
because
it
there and there, right. Yeah. Yeah, that's gonna
So
remain,
this-
but see, that shows that kind of grayish in that, and then down here.
What
Yeah.
about, what about the white pillar there?
On the right? Like
Yeah.
the post?
Oh, this?
Yeah, that's, as I remember, that was stone.
It was a natural stone until the previous owner decided to paint his
Paint
entire
over.
building.
Yeah.
And then I threw a fit and made him change that, and so he painted it plain old white, which isn't exactly, I'm not happy with it, but whatever.
Looks like stone.
At this point,
Is your plan to paint that burgundy as well?
our plan was to
Pillar?
paint that burgundy and leave all the sandstone there. So that all the stonework, the original work.
and I think now I think it would be better to do it burgundy and let it blend in,
Blend in?
Yeah.
because it stands out like a sore thumb right now.
Okay.
Yeah, we were, actually, the original intent was to take down the plaster wall. But as you guys probably know more than I do, sandstone needs to breathe. And it's dried out so much that if we remove the plaster wall, there's a likelihood the wall would come down. So that's why we're like, well, we'll just paint it and make it look nice again.
This is not part of anything you're doing now. I'm just asking since I have you right
Yeah,
here.
yeah, shoot.
Are you gonna do anything with the awning up front? Like, or not awning, but yeah, it's an awning, right?
So here's what we know so far. So see that gray part above the awning? That is literally covering up the original building. It's just like sheet metal that's there for,
The flat part?
yeah, I don't know, the vertical flat part above the awning.
That, yeah.
That's just sheet metal. We don't really know why it's there. So the plan is to do a little exploration before we paint to see what's underneath it. And if it is the continuation of the building or something else that would have historical significance, it would either be leave it or repair it and bring it back to what it was.
Cool. There were probably entresol windows there.
Most of the buildings in downtown would have the entresol windows,
Yeah.
and so whether or not you have good solid windows and glass, some of the buildings, they covered up stained glass with that metal siding,
Yeah.
and they still existed underneath them.
Good.
So it
It's-
depends on the condition of your unique building.
Okay, and we want to know what's underneath it, because once we realized it was just sheet metal tacked on, like, there's got to be something under there.
Does it have a drop ceiling on the inside
No.
like this?
No,
It
it
doesn't.
doesn't, no. There was within the entryway, there's like a juxta part that is dropped a little bit. It's like a 2-foot datum, I don't really know why, but
Okay.
it's there.
Okay.
It's very interesting, it's been an interesting process.
Well, and I gotta say, when I first moved to Guthrie and first time I went for a walk and I turned that corner and I saw this big white building, I thought, boy, it's not hideous, but it's definitely out of character for Guthrie. And
I appreciate
This
you being
plan-
kind,
this-
but we
this-
think it's hideous. So you can say it, it's not gonna
Well,
fit.
you're
No, it's
going to-
bright.
You're gonna make it less hideous.
Yeah.
I said it's not hideous.
Oh, no. Well,
I said,
thank
no,
you.
it's not hideous, it just didn't fit.
No, it
Because
doesn't fit.
it's just kind of a shock to the system, and
there
this will
was-
help it blend in a lot
We cut
better.
them off, they had put some just iron things on there that the rust was running down the building, we removed those.
Yeah,
Eventually we're gonna take off the numbers that are on the building, get them powder coated, probably to just like a white or something, like a kind of that cream antique white, I think they call it. And then The future plan is to pour a pad in the back with a nice kind of restored, like, what do you call it, like reclaimed wood fence around it, because like dumpsters are back there, and something a business needs, but I'd like to hide it and make it kind of look like it's been there for a while. And then the front part, eventually, that little front yard, so to speak, would be to put in a public patio area.
Oh, that'd be great.
Yeah, yeah, please.
Everyone's gonna be like, they want me to shut up because they probably want to go or something. But what about the awning on the annex part? Is that going to be red too?
On
or-
124,
Yeah, the one that's white.
that would be black.
black. Nice.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
So
yeah.
both awnings would match for now, if that meant. I would
Yeah.
like to get rid of that, to be honest with you, but we'll find out what's underneath it.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
black.
so they'll both be black.
Yeah, that picture looks a lot better than the one that kind of have here. I don't know if it's just a print thing or not. It just,
That one's blown up a little bit.
yeah.
It's gonna be nice to get those bricks below the windows,
Yeah.
darker color. What are they, sort of white or gray or something?
They're
Kind of a
great.
putty
They're like
color.
a beigey grayish
Yeah.
color. I wouldn't call it attractive, but we're slowly still kind of uncovering stuff now.
They're not hideous.
No, it's not. Yeah, it's nice. Yeah, that whole window encasement on the interior comes out 2 feet all around with just drywall. And so our goal, we're gonna probably later this week kick a hole in it and see what's behind there and keep going.
Well, I'll make a motion to approve.
Well, second.
Okay, motion and a second to approve. All right, Valerie Duncan,
Yes.
Adam Robb,
Yes.
Patrick Kerr. Aaron Brown,
Yes.
Joe Chappell,
Yes.
and Lynn Bilodeau.
Yes,
All right, passes.
Thanks,
Thank
guys.
you.
Yeah, appreciate it.
agenda number 5, discussion and potential action on a request for a certificate of appropriateness for Oklahoma Department of Transportation, improvements to meet American with Disabilities Act for sidewalks, ADA ramps, limited curb and gutter replacements along Division Street between Perkins Avenue and just north of Vilas Avenue, or Vilas, I never know how to pronounce that.
Second time is right.
Vilas Avenue, and between Cleveland Avenue, Noble Avenue, and along Noble Avenue between Division Street and Broad Street. We have a staff report.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair. As you just indicated, Oklahoma Department of Transportation, ODOT, is doing a sidewalk project, and what is on the agenda tonight is just basically what a little portion that's in the historic district, but it's a sidewalk project that's going to be going from Industrial Boulevard all the way north on Division to Noble, and then it goes from Noble east to basically Drexel, Park and Drexel to the east there. And it will be taking into account either replacing, putting in, or all the above sidewalk. And the main goal, as was stated in the introduction, is it's to meet the Americans with Disabilities Act, so there's that access. So all of these improvements are ADA related. As was indicated, there's a portion that goes through the historic district. It basically starts over by Perkins Avenue and goes to just a little bit north of Vilas. And then it ends, but then it picks up around Cleveland Avenue to Noble, and then again along Noble between Division and Broad. As some of you may remember, there was another project that was proposed for the area that's basically between Perkins and that portion of Cleveland that still hasn't gone forth. There was some continual, I guess, revisions, if you want to say, of stuff, because there was bump outs originally, landscaping, all that. So that's why that area has not been included in this, because that's basically a different project. One of the things that kind of transpired is they had sent us the documents earlier this year, but our firewall basically blocked it, so we never got it. And so they kind of followed up saying, hey, how are things going? Did you get that MOU signed? And we're kind of like, we didn't get anything. And so this is why it's kind of coming now rather than probably a couple months ago. But the SHPO, the State Historic Preservation Office, has signed off on the project, and there was a letter from them included in your packet. So we're kind of essentially the last ones, so to speak, but the city manager did not want to sign off on the MOU until it did go to the Historic Preservation Commission, because again, it did entail some improvements within the district. So with that, any questions by the commission?
This has to be one of the longest applications we've ever looked at. I told Joe before the meeting, I was having a hard time staying awake reading through the.
Oh, yeah.
entire
Well, and that was the thing, because as I probably should have mentioned, you know, I did include the cultural resources study that was done as part of the project and that, and then the actual improvement plans. So again, it would be seen that it is simply a sidewalk, curb ramps at the intersections type project. There is no type of bump outs, landscaping, or anything else associated with it.
And just to be clear, in the areas within the historic district where they're wanting to do this, we have to have some improvements made or we're not ADA compliant.
Exactly.
Number one.
Yes.
Number two, there is not one historical sidewalk running anywhere where they're wanting to do this.
That
It's
is
kind of
correct.
piecemeal. There's some brick, there's some concrete, different things, but nothing that's really cohesive.
Right, that is
Okay.
correct.
Okay. Any discussion? Anybody have any concerns?
Well, I actually do. In the management summary, let's see here. It says, however, original brick sidewalks that remain are notable and distinctive design elements in the district. The proposed replacement of original brick sidewalks with concrete reduces the district's integrity of design materials and workmanship. So I am concerned about that.
What page are you on, Valerie?
Page 1.
But just to note, none of that exists in the historic district, because as the chairman indicated, the improvements that are happening within the historic district already have, if you want to say modern sidewalks, there's no brickwork within the historic district that's affected. Most of that was pertaining to Noble Avenue, where some of the existing brick sidewalks exist along Noble in that more easterly, but none of the area that's within the historic district has bricks that will be, if you want to say, changed or affected. That's what I'm looking for.
So you're not touching any of the brick sidewalks in the historic town site district?
No, right. Because all the ones that are going to be affected are outside the historic district.
Then why are we voting on this?
Because there's improvements within the historic district that are taking place. Street,
The
sidewalks.
project's much bigger than the historic
Yeah.
district.
Yeah, I
but
understand
But
that.
it does overlap some of it.
Right,
Okay,
but
so it says, it goes through it, it says brick sidewalk segment 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. What is happening to those that already exist?
my understanding is that there's well, I'm not really sure. I know some of them probably will not remain. The bricks that cannot be reused or the bricks that are going to be taken out are going to be given to the city for the city to have and all that. But the brick sidewalks, some of those are going to go away in order to meet ADA requirements.
So, I'm gonna bring up the question of stamped and stained concrete, just like we're doing in the park. Are they offering to do that?
I haven't talked with them about that. I can tell you, like I said, that right now, because of how the correspondence happened, they're basically waiting on us. If we're looking to do something different, then they're probably going to have to, well, not only delay the process, but probably revise going out for bid due to that not being part of the current project.
I just find it strange that SHPO would approve this if we're taking out original brick sidewalk, but yet they had problems with some of our other improvements in the downtown district. So SHPO is on board with removing historic brick and not trying to give any type of visual appeal.
Yes.
I'm just saying gray
No.
sidewalk is gray concrete is the ugliest thing you can put anywhere.
And I can't say that I don't disagree with you in the sense that there seems to be some contradiction there, yes.
I'm confused, though. You just said we're not touching any of the brick sidewalk in the historic district, and now you're saying that we are?
No. What I'm saying is the brick sidewalk that is going to be affected is outside the historic district. Because this encompasses from industrial
I
all the way
understand
north
that.
and then east on Noble. There's still a lot of brick sidewalk along Noble that goes east there that will be affected. That's the brick sidewalk that'll be affected. But what's in the historic district now is already existing, if you want to say gray concrete sidewalk, or sidewalks, curbs, and that. It's looking to fix the sidewalk in the certain areas that need to be, put new sidewalk, or again, make the improvements at the intersections with the ramps and that to make them ADA compliant.
I think that it's important to note that we as a community, probably in the early 80s, went through and ripped up concrete that we had replaced with the brick sidewalks, and then we go out and rip up our concrete so that we can put new pavers down. I think if it's gonna be located within the historic district, it should be brick pavers, which can be ADA compliant. Edmond Downtown District has it. Or it should be stamped and stained concrete to look like, to resemble brick. Which there's also areas of the downtown Edmond District that have that.
Okay, so we're getting confused with the landmark and then the big district. I still would like to see a brick aesthetic from in the overall main historic part, even though that's not necessarily under the jurisdiction of our committee. I would like to make that strong recommendation that from College up to Noble and Noble out to Drexel should be at least stamped and dyed brick. At the very least. We have plenty of concrete. And I am a complete and total advocate for ADA, but brick pavers and stamped brick can be ADA accessible. And actually, the National Park Service in landmark districts, they discourage replacing brick with concrete when brick is the design aesthetic of the towns. And just as a side note, completely irrelevant to that comment, there is a section here, it talks about brick section number 9 and 10, and in their report, they say that they could not come to any conclusion of whether the houses on Noble and Walnut were contributing resources, and here's the documentation for them being contributing resources, just to have documentation in a row. But I think, especially in front of those houses that gather out are outside of our little central business district nugget, I think the brick sidewalks do a lot for their curb appeal for those historic houses in our neighborhoods and throughout the rest of our downtown, so.
I'd also
Here's my
like to
opinion.
state, I mean, don't get me wrong, new sidewalks would be great, but there's been a movement with a local nonprofit organization to restore the brick. And so some of these that they are wanting to tear out have recently been restored sidewalk by that
Red Brick Revival.
Red Brick Revival. And so I think that's pretty sad to see that all that work go for nothing. And I'm not saying that we don't need, that some of them, they're not necessarily ADA accessible. But I think if we're going to go to the trouble to let them be replaced, they should have to comply with their own historic rules. I mean, I don't think that we should allow them to, ODOT to come in and just pour some gray concrete, personally.
Well, and my only problem with trying to make a recommendation with something outside of the historic district is, Aaron, you used the word jurisdiction. If you don't have jurisdiction, you don't have jurisdiction, and I think.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, there's no doubt I can pass on that information, but ultimately, if they say, well, sorry, then, you know, that's.
And if the city wants to address that on a larger scale, the city
No, right, yeah,
obviously
and that's the
can still
thing, is
address that.
I agree, you know, that's something that could happen at that.
But as far
Well-
as historic preservation and the history of the town go, we're the experts, and so we can't make a decision on that, but we can strongly recommend that we look at brick or brick aesthetic options for the other sections within the overall large historic district. So, we can make a recommendation.
Sure, I mean, we can
Yeah.
make a recommendation.
But I would think that you would want all the sidewalk on Division within the downtown district that's currently nasty gray concrete, because all that didn't get replaced with pavers. I would think that you would prefer it to be more aesthetically pleasing. That is within your jurisdiction.
Yeah.
We did a huge disservice, I think, to our community in 2007 for Centennial, when we let the state come in and repave from the Temple all the way to Wentz, and we took out some brick sidewalks then too.
Okay, so what exactly is the section that is in our jurisdiction that we can vote on?
I was thinking about saying it, but I didn't want to be the one to say that. I was like, so what is it?
The portion that, well, yeah, there's a construction, but
What, there's like, in there one section?
it essentially starts at Perkins. It's
Uh-huh.
along Division Street. From Perkins to just north of Vilas, there's some work being done.
Uh-huh,
And then it picks up on Cleveland Avenue.
Mm-hmm.
And then that goes to Noble. And then from Noble, it's between, basically to Broad Street.
Mm-hmm.
And then once you go past that, it gets outside the historic district. And like I said, there's a gap in there because that was a completely different project.
right,
Yeah.
right. I understand that. So they have the yellow line right here
That one there.
that shows where the district, our jurisdiction is, so we go here. Mhm. And then we have it right here. Mhm. Well, I definitely want to see good sidewalks because people use them all the time. I mean, you see people walking all the way down to Walmart all the time, and we need good, safe sidewalks for our people, so. Good.
So what are we proposing?
I'm willing to make a motion to approve it, but with a strong recommendation for a brick or brick aesthetic.
And what about the areas that are within the historical district?
That's what I'm.
That's what she-
No, that's
I
what
just
she's
said.
talking
That's what she's talking about. So this area on the map, I guess segment 15 down to 6, that is within the historic
And the
district.
sidewalk is on the,
So let me get this
East
straight.
side.
Division, correct.
Yes, yes.
And I
So
will-
are those to be
you know, and I will
the
point
gray
out,
concrete or?
Wait just a minute, we
got.
got two people talking at the same time.
go ahead. Pat.
Patrick, go ahead.
So the sidewalks that are within the historical district, are they gonna be brick or are they gonna be concrete?
Well, I think their proposal is for concrete.
Yeah,
They want
which is
solid
existing.
What
concrete.
do we want?
Okay, well, that's what, I think Aaron is making a motion that, she's fine approving it as long as the sidewalks within the historic district are brick instead of
That's
just
what I wanted to
concrete.
make clear. Okay.
Okay, and then Joe?
Well, I was just gonna point out too that one of the, on the north side of Division, and it looks like it's gonna start, it looks like it starts right beyond Shorts, right?
Right beyond where?
Shorts Service Center. There's a little alley that runs behind Shorts, and then there's the Hoboken.
Yes.
Yes.
It's
Yes,
gonna start right behind Shorts.
because it goes a little north of Hoboken.
Right, well, I'm gonna,
Yeah,
I'm gonna point out too that, on a lot of these properties right here, they're nothing but concrete out in front of them.
Right.
You know, so you're good, I mean, stamp, yeah, but anyway, it's just something to consider. Because I don't know how great, and I'm all for brick, but I don't know how the brick aesthetic cuts through 2 strips of concrete. And maybe it would look okay too. It'd probably look better than all concrete. But, you know, like in front of the old train depot down there, it's all concrete out front.
Right.
It's all concrete in front of a lot of those buildings. And like in front of, I still want to call it Gangler, but it's Ace.
Ace doesn't even have a sidewalk.
What? The Ace won't have a sidewalk?
They
No, I'm
don't
saying it
have a
doesn't now.
sidewalk. It's just asphalt right now.
Yeah, it is.
So Aaron, did you want to make a motion?
Yes.
See, yeah, okay.
Or did I officially make one?
I thought you did,
I
but,
thought I did too.
Well, I don't think it was fully framed yet.
okay, go ahead.
Okay, I'll make a motion to approve the project for the ADA sidewalks with a, do we want to do preference or required?
Strong.
Required?
Strong preference for brick or brick stamp.
Well, and I'll just tell you, as between brick and brick stamped,
Make it
I'd
a
100
preference,
times.
they just put in what they're gonna put in anyway.
I'm sorry, do what?
If you give them a preference, they're gonna go with concrete. If we say it's required, that means we want brick there.
Well, and as between brick and brick stamped, I'd 100 times rather see brick.
Me too.
Okay.
I don't want brick stamp.
All right.
And the brick pavers, you know, like James said, they can be smooth enough to be ADA compliant. No reason they still build brick streets in Norway today.
No, there's lots of places that use
Yeah.
brick very effectively. Okay,
So
so
I
a required brick in the historic district.
I second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Did everybody get the motion?
Yes.
Okay,
Joe Chapel?
go ahead, yes.
What? I had to be first.
Of course you do.
It's just red brick, man. We can't.
Yes.
Yeah.
Aaron Brown?
Yes.
Valerie Duncan?
Yes.
Adam Ropp?
Yes.
Patrick Kerr?
Yes.
Lynn Bilodeau?
Yes.
All right, I will pass that on.
We forgot to request that the rest of it all be brick too.
No.
Well, I already
we
noted
could-
my preference for,
we could-
Yeah,
so,
Would you like to make a motion?
yeah,
With regard to
yeah, I
that?
would. I mean,
Go right ahead.
I'm pretty sure we're not gonna get it, but like I said, we're here to do what we think's best for the city of Guthrie. I'd like to also either add or make another motion or whatever it takes to request that all of it be brick.
Have a motion
Second.
and second? And this is just, it's
Yeah,
outside our
suggestion.
jurisdiction, so it's just advisory and it's just a request. You want to call the roll?
Joe Chapel?
Yes.
Aaron Brown?
yes.
Valerie Duncan?
Yes.
Adam Ropp?
Yes.
Patrick Kerr?
Yes,
Lynn Bilodeau?
Yes.
Okay.
Item number 6, HPC application 20-012, discussion and potential action on a request for certificate of appropriateness for a new Guthrie Automax signage on the side of a building for property located at 101 West Harrison Avenue. We have a staff report.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. This is the vacant lot that's right next to the vape shop there, right at the corner of Division and Harrison. It's been utilized for used car sales for quite a while, off and on. Anyway, the applicant is looking to, again, use the lot for used car sales, and as such has come in to get approval of the sign. The sign was provided in your packet as well as what's up there. It will replace or go over the existing size, if you want to say, of what's already there, because there's a sign that talks about auto sales there. But it's roughly a 6.5 foot by 61 foot sign. As is shown up on the screen, it'll be a white background with a blue border, and then also part of the business being blue and the rest being black and white. The Historic Preservation Code states that it can't exceed 30% of the building facade. In this case, it's only about 25%, so it's within that realm of allowance for a building facade. The applicant is not present, so if you have any questions, I would say, or concerns, you could either deny or defer to another date in hopes that the applicant's here.
Anybody
Or
have
you
any-
can approve the application as.
Or,
Yeah.
since you've spoken with them, we could probably ask you questions and you might have answers.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anybody have any questions of Mr. Kasich regarding the application? Any comments on the application?
Yes.
Mr. Chappell?
And, you know, there's two applications for the same company.
Right.
And,
Yes, two different locations.
Yes,
The other one's coming up next.
yeah, and just mentioning the second one, I personally don't have a problem with the second one, but I have a problem with this one. And
Which
the
one?
reason-
Which one?
This one?
Oh, it's awful.
It's awful.
The one we're currently on.
Yes.
Okay.
And what I brought was, you know, in looking at our, look, I'll let you look through here first. And it seems something that we've lost sight of a little bit. The historic significance of signage in Guthrie and trying to create that brand. And certainly not all the signs in Guthrie fit this, you know, territorial Victorian brand, but the problem I have with this particular building is this is your entryway into Guthrie. And this modern text and print, first of all, another thing, which has nothing to do with the application, but I've always had a big problem with the color of the outside facade of these two buildings. Driving up Harrison, instead of being a red brick color, you know, of course, that's not to be considered, I know. But I could see allowing them to have their signage on the non-contributing building down Harrison Street that they want to put it on, but to put it on the side of a contributing building right downtown, when there are so many examples of signage on the side of some of the historic buildings downtown, some of the most historic ones, including one of your buildings.
Yep.
I took a picture of it. I would just think that if Guthrie Automax Repo Depot is going to be a presence in our historic city, that they need to come up with something that winks to Guthrie's heritage, especially pulling into town. So that's my 2 cents.
Patrick?
I don't like it at all.
Pardon me?
I said I don't like it at all. I don't know how to express how much I don't, other than it just,
I'm right there with you,
you
Pat.
know,
So. But I mean, they could have all this wording up there. They could have it, yeah, they could have all this wording, but they need to make it a little,
And like you said, if it wasn't the corner of Division and Harrison,
And on
the
the
first,
side.
the first stoplight you come
and
to.
on the side of a contributing
downtown.
building.
Yeah.
James, what were you gonna say?
Well, I think you need to take a look at what's already there. They're not changing the size
Well, I
of what's
know that,
already
but I
there.
mean, I
You're
don't-
also trying to define their brand. That's their logo. You have no right to change their brand, their logo.
I understand.
You have
that
no
too.
right.
We have a right to take care of our city and make it look as attractive and appealing as we possibly
I
can.
understand that too, and I don't
Because
mind,
this is a draw
I don't
for
mind
all
their
people to
logo.
come to town.
I don't mind their logo on their building down the street, but not, it's like a billboard pulling into town. And to me, that's like, you know, my whole problem with the Prairie Wolf building, you know, it was replacing a little deco bus station that happened in the 30s. And I just don't think it should have never happened then. I just don't think you repeat mistakes over and over again. And it could say Guthrie Auto Zone. I mean, it's not like Guthrie Auto Depot in a little more historic print. It's just it's a wink to Guthrie. Everybody's gonna know who they are. And they're right down the street.
Well, I will say the ordinance does have allowance for modern-looking signs when it is a chain and when it is, like you said, their brand and their logo. So, I mean, there's nothing in the ordinance that would preclude us from approving this. But I also get Joe's point that, you know, you come into Guthrie and you're expecting to see this historic city and there's modern smacking you right in the face. And I realize there's already a sign up there that doesn't fit what Joe's asking for, something that looks more historic.
Does everybody remember the nail lady that came in, remember, and she had like a hot pink sign that we approved, and it's actually on Division? Do you guys remember doing that one? I think we all voted no on that, and she had to change the color, you know, from a hot.
She voluntarily
She
changed,
voluntarily.
yeah.
Did she do it?
Yes.
She voluntarily changed.
It wasn't because there was a no vote, so to speak. She voluntarily did it. However, she has it on her windows now in her other location.
I think historically, you wouldn't have had a car lot here, but unfortunately, that is what we have here.
Yeah.
No.
And I think we're not trying to keep a museum downtown. We have cars downtown. We have a car lot downtown. And we have a brand that has locations in other places that would like to do commerce here. And I don't think by trying to tell him that he needs to redesign his logo is being very business friendly. I don't. You're trying to shut them out instead of include them, in my opinion. All because you don't like a color or a logo. That's a brand. That's nothing to do with the historical integrity of that building.
Definitely a good point.
Yeah,
Just saying.
I don't really necessarily, I don't have a problem with it because it's paint, it's not, you know, I mean, hopefully Automax is there for, you know, decades.
If I were you,
And
Joe,
very successful.
They're gonna
but-
they've already have on their picture here, they're painting over what I believe is
Another auto
No, it's
sales.
the same.
A1 Auto
It's
Sales.
the same size, same.
I get it's the same size, but if you look at a picture, above the little building, it says A1 Auto Sales, and it has a telephone number. So maybe you ask them, if you're gonna go to this trouble and paint over that, why don't you paint the backdrop, your red brick,
That'd
and
be
still
awesome.
have your sign? You probably wouldn't have a problem with that, would be my guess. And then you wouldn't
I
get
mean, do
your.
they even own the wall? I mean, who owns the wall?
The same property owner. The actual, they are on separate properties, but it's all under the same ownership. The same people that own the vape shop own that property. It's all under the same ownership.
But I think asking them to change their logo or their font, their signage,
you know what I mean?
I think that's out of line.
Again, I really don't have a problem with it. I mean, it's a sign, it's paint, it's not permanent. And It'd be much preferable if there was a really pretty brick building right there instead of an empty lot. But we're making use of
Well,
the
can we,
spaces.
can we deny this one? And having them come back here and talk to us and approve the second one?
What do you want the second one to be?
Well, no, their second one was on their building. Approve their second one. Approve their logo on their building.
If you feel it better that they be here to discuss options or whatever in that, then yes, you can essentially table it. And I will make sure that I get in contact with the applicant and let them know that they need to be at the next meeting. And at that point, then you can have conversations. So yes, that's an option. It's been done before.
Maybe we
What-
could talk them into painting it red.
Why couldn't you make that
Yeah, you could.
motion now?
Yeah, you could.
And painting the building, the backdrop
Yeah.
red?
Approve the sign with the condition that they paint the building red?
Yes.
Yeah, we can do that. We've done that before.
I got it, I
What do
just,
you think, Pat? What do you think?
Patrick still doesn't like the sign.
Oh, I
He's
know.
gonna vote no either way.
I don't either, but, you know,
Okay.
James has a point. I just still hate it.
I want their sales tax revenue.
I get it.
Yeah, and like we discussed, and we've had this discussion before, you know, there is kind of
Just be
that fine.
nice to talk to them to see if they're.
No, I understand, but there
is.
is that fine line between, you know, obviously a brand that a particular business has and I guess encroaching upon or trying to change that brand that a particular business has in that. Because obviously if they were anywhere else in the city, for the most part, it'd be a non-issue in that. But in the historic district, you know, I do think that the primary goal is more of the actual buildings, the building facades, and even the color of the buildings themselves, more so than the specific signage that a particular company brings. Anybody in business obviously, you know, has a brand, a logo, and that they're looking for. And I do think it's, you know, probably unfortunate or maybe going, I don't want to say, I guess, too far, but to try to make them change that in that. I you know, as Aaron had indicated, I think, you know, it's, for all intents and purposes, all signage is temporary to some extent, because it can always change, but I,
You know, even the background of this bright, I know that advertising is all about catching your eye, you know, but,
I think that if
I
you,
feel like all the signage that I showed you was on our buildings, complements our buildings, and this doesn't. That's my feeling about it.
they may or may not compliment them at the time frame though in which they were done, right? So,
Yeah, but
I
they're
mean,
just-
I'm sure when Coca-Cola
It's
come into
just-
play, people probably didn't like may have not liked the bright red and the cursive
Well, and I don't know
font.
that was even up there at the time.
Probably not.
That was brought up later.
But you're saying it's complimentary. So, I mean, I think that if you were to say, we want you to paint the backdrop, the red brick color, make that the contention. If they don't like that, then they can come back next month. Otherwise, I think you're just holding them up for no purpose.
Somebody want to make a motion?
I'll make a motion.
all right.
You'll always make a motion.
I'll make a motion. Keep it moving, keep it moving. Approve the sign
Contingent.
contingent. The building is painted brick red.
Okay. Have a motion, do I have a second?
I have a question. When you say the building red, using the whole wall or just the red behind the sign, like where the
The
white is?
wall. Because it looks cement, it looks exactly like the same color as the pavement.
Yeah.
And red brick is kind of our thing, so.
Do I have a second?
Second.
When that one died.
So, motion failed for lack of second.
Motion failed for lack of a second. Anybody want to make, and that doesn't mean that has to be the end
No,
of the discussion
no,
on
there
that.
could be
Does
another,
anybody
yeah.
want to make a motion to approve, so we can vote on that one way or another, or do we want to table this till next month and see if we can have the applicant here?
I would just like them to be here before we're even saying you have to paint your wall red and all that. I'd like them to just be here to even
Then
agree to
Do you want
that.
to move, do you want to move to table this till the next meeting then?
Yeah.
Okay. So I have a motion and a second.
I'll make a motion to table it just to.
Call the vote on that.
Okay, hold on a second by
Joe?
Joe. Okay. Valerie Duncan,
Yes.
Adam Ropp,
Yes.
Patrick Kerr,
Yes.
Joe Chappell,
Yes.
Aaron Brown,
Yes.
Lynn Bilodeau.
Yes.
Okay. My pen dies one item from the end.
Final agenda item. Oh, your pen died. Application, HPC application 20-013, discussion potential action on a request for certificate of appropriateness for new Guthrie Automac signage on both the street side facades of a building located at 202 East Harrison Avenue. And we do have a staff report.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair. As indicated, this is over on 202 East Harrison. It's where most recently the Vance Upfitters was located. It's right at the corner of Harrison and Wentz Street. They're looking to put signage on the facade on Wentz Street side as well as the Harrison Avenue side. The proposal is exactly the same as the previous in terms of the sign, the color, in that associated with it. However, in size-wise, again, it does not exceed the 30% of the facade. However, the code specifically says, or the ordinance says that you can only allow one sign per primary facade or street side facade. As you see in the picture, they were proposing two. So staff had indicated that outside of that, all was well, and so staff recommends that the commission approve the certificate of appropriateness that, with the condition that only one of the 0.75 square foot signs are allowed on the south building facade, which is the Harrison Avenue.
So they'd still get two signs.
Yep.
One's on Harrison.
They just
and one
won't
on
get the
Wentz.
three.
Okay.
Yeah.
Any discussion?
Well, since we're tabling the other one, I think we should table this one as well, because if we have them make any, or ask them, or they agree to make any changes to the color of the sign or, the font of Guthrie on their big sign, they would want to have it consistent.
Yeah, but they're not just a Guthrie thing, are they?
No,
No,
but
no,
if-
got automatic
No,
sign.
no.
But if they're willing to work on us on the big side of the building sign, I think we should table this one.
Although, I think if they're ready to roll,
I would like to approve
I
something.
don't see any reason why we couldn't approve
We
this.
might-
I mean,
we-
this is their
Yeah,
branding that they
And we
use all
might,
over Oklahoma
you
City
know,
Metro.
They might be more willing to
Yeah.
work with us on the other one if they get something.
Well, and I was just thinking, I'm sure they'd like to get going on this. This is a smaller project, doesn't involve as much. And I'd rather see us just go ahead and do something with this one tonight, rather than make them wait 30 days.
I know it's not, it goes against what we've been talking about with their branding. As always, it's just kind of like a generic thing. If they just painted it black, it would be a lot better, but I know that's part of their brand, but.
I'm gonna draw attention to themselves.
You want to make a motion?
I make a motion to accept staff's recommendation.
We have a second?
I think that one just died.
I know that traditionally, this body has said that the chair can't make a motion and can't make a second, but Robert's Rules of Orders definitely
No, you
say
can.
I can, and so I'm going to second the motion.
Okay.
Because I think it's silly of us just to make them wait on this.
Okay.
Because we couldn't make up our mind on the other.
So we got a motion and a second. Aaron Brown,
I'll go ahead and say yes, because this is, yeah, I'm gonna
Okay.
go ahead and say yes.
Valerie Duncan,
Hesitantly, but I'll say yes.
Adam Ropp,
Yes.
Patrick Kerr,
No,
Joe Chappell,
Yeah.
Lynn Bilodeau.
Yes.
All right, 5-1.
We did have some public comments earlier. I know some of you took some notes. Is there anything, do we have any staff
Oh,
comments?
yeah, I was going to say, don't forget staff. I was just going to add a couple things.
Go right
As you indicated, Mr. Chair, I had been in conversation with Ms. Herzl about a couple of the things, and we're going through our normal processes to investigate/take care of some of those issues, the chain link fence as well as the building downtown that has more color than they should have per the approvals in that. And the only other thing I wanted to add is on tomorrow night's city council agenda, there is a nomination for Daryl Coddington to be the newest Historic Preservation Commission member, and that would fill the position of the Logan County Historical Society that was previously filled by James, who unfortunately passed away. But that's on tomorrow night, so at the next meeting, we'll be back to a full commission.
Okay. Adam, did you want to say anything about anytime utilities are changed over, somebody's taken over something? Do we need to get them some information so that they know what the rules are?
I've said this before, and I think when I suggested this, I can't remember who it was, but somebody was like, oh, we don't want to make the ladies responsible. I'm not saying we make the front desk responsible in that their neck is on the line for it. I do agree 100% with Debbie that we got to find a way to snatch these people when they come in town to avoid because it feels like half of everything we do almost is they've already done it. And whether they're, lying and saying, oh, we didn't know, or they truthfully didn't know, it's always like a post.
Right.
You know.
The only thing I'll add, or I guess the thing I'll add to that is I don't inherently disagree. And what you're talking about is a business license permitting process or a business license process. Every place I've been has a business license. So when you go to open a business, whether, whatever, you go and get a business license. That gives the opportunity at that point to not only, come in for utilities, it also gives the point to say, yeah, you're in the historic district. You might want to check with planning to make sure even the use that you want to put in that building is allowed. If you need any building permits or what, you'll need to talk to them, et cetera, et cetera. It does that. It also does to where then you have a contact information on file for a particular business and the business owners. So if things do come up down the road, you have that database there. Most cities have those in place. A lot of times the fees, the initial fee is anywhere from maybe $50 to $100, but renewal fees around $25 every year in that. And so it's obviously an ongoing database, but that's what most cities use that particular process for.
Right.
We do not currently have that. It's something that obviously could be done. There are some obviously resource, if you want to say, on the city's end in terms of, who would take care of those applications and basically do everything behind, with those and keep that up just like we have anything else. But that's the process you're talking about.
Yeah, when you named all that off, I thought you was going to say we had that here.
No, we do not.
And then and we don't have that.
No.
I was getting ready to say, that's good. And
Yeah.
then you said we don't have that. Well, if there's something that, surely the businesses here have to come here for something when they come
They
here.
do,
right?
utilities, so it's that simple.
That's it.
When they come to turn your utilities on,
Yes.
give it to them. You
Right.
don't have to have a business opening.
No,
process.
and James
100% what I'm saying.
James is correct. There's simpler ways to do it. There's no doubt. There's a varying numbers of ways. Like I said, most places put it into a more formal process where you have an actual application that's for that and different stuff, but there are even simpler and easier ways to do it, yes.
Well, and the utility bill seems like the logical one because we also have residences in the central business district. So whether they're opening business, getting a business permit, or moving
point.
into a residence,
Yeah, I mean,
either way, that way we could give them some kind of notification that, make sure what you want to do here is.
well, and I'd
gonna-
also, oh, sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead.
And I'd also like to have, and again, I'm not saying it's directly this, but I'd also like, literally just hand them a piece of paper, but I would like them to print and sign their name that they received it, because I'm also not wanting to deal with, I never got that. I'm just not dealing with that either, so. But if we could, so how do we go about getting that done?
Any other staff comments?
Well, yeah, the only thing I can say is, again, it's I guess a personnel thing. There's, if you go the route of just simply saying, okay, we're going to do that, and so, X department is going to, then obviously the city manager and that department head would have to discuss on how they're going to do it or what. If you're going the route of a more formal, which you institute an actual business licensing thing, then that comes in the form of, normally an ordinance that will establish that code section and put the parameters of, again, requiring the license, even the fees and all of that. So obviously that's at the level of where that would have to go through the city council in that. But again, it just depends on what level you're looking to institute.
The first
So
one
it
would
could be
be
as simple as, again, instituting at the personnel level.
Yeah, that's all I think, that's better than nothing, right, guys?
Yep.
Anybody? Harumph, you're here, am I getting here?
And I realize we've passed the 1 hour mark, so I don't want to belabor this much, but Carol also did bring us under staff comments here, or commissioner comments. She brought up brick streets, and I believe the particular street she was talking about actually had been paved over brick
Yes.
previously. They were just skimming it, they revealed some of the brick, and then they redid it.
That is correct.
I fully understand the city not wanting to go back and trying to restore every brick street in Guthrie, but I sure would like to see the city make it a priority to preserve and protect and restore the ones that haven't been paved over. Because the brick streets are really, really cool. And I think there have been some long-term studies that the overall cost is not anymore to keep the brick streets in good repair as it is to go ahead and just repave them. They're still used all over the world, and they're really a cool part of Guthrie. I'd like to see all the brick streets we have stay.
It's been a while since I read this, so I've forgotten where it was. But there's a city down south that is, I think it was in Florida actually, where they were uncovering brick streets, asphalt from brick streets. There's some kind of, after you remove it, there's some kind of machine that has to go over it to like cook that, the residue off. What I read about it, it was any city that has done it has owned that kind of machine. It's not like they've had to purchase it. I would have no idea what something like that would cost, but it did talk about how it brought up property values in the places that they've done it. It's a shame that we lost those when we did.
Yeah. And I'd sure like to see the remaining brick streets remain.
I was in Purcell the other day, and Purcell's just, they've got brick streets everywhere.
Yeah.
Down Main Street. Makes people go slower too, because it's a bumpy ride.
Yes, it's called traffic calming.
You're thinking like a politician, man, you got it.
Yep, it's called traffic calming.
Any other commissioner comments?